Hey, welcome to this week's video, and here I'll be actually getting started on this 1850s project. The first thing I'm going to be working on is the chemise. This is a garment that was worn closest to the skin, and its primary function was to protect the wearer's body from the corset and also to protect the corset from body oils and sweat, all that funky, delicious stuff. They were washed very frequently and underwent a lot of wear, so you'd see them made out of plain white cotton or linen. They had very sturdy construction with flat-felled seams. I've made it sound like this is a really utilitarian piece of clothing, but they could be really pretty too. Around the middle of the 19th century, you would typically see the body of the chemise gathered onto a band or a shaped yoke, and it could be trimmed with a little bit of lace. Sometimes there were tucks at the bottom by the hem. The sleeves were very short, and sometimes they were sleeveless. For mine, I drafted mine using the instructions on Elizabeth Stewart Clark's website, which I will link down below. It's a pretty simple construction. There were some hiccups I had, which I'll talk about at the end, but if you're planning on making the chemise with these instructions, rest assured, those were GAN problems. So let's get into it.
Because this garment is made up of simple shapes, I simply drew it directly on my fabric and started cutting. The sleeves went in first, then the side seams, and at that point, you can kind of start to see how this will all come together to be a chemise. Once all the pieces are together, the next step is felling the seams. One side of the raw edge is cut away, and the other is folded over and stitched down. This is a historical seam finish, but it's just as functional in modern usage. It creates a seam that is smooth, strong, and tidy. Next, the neckline is gathered and set into a band. The front and back pieces are gathered to fit, and the sides where the sleeves are left plain, and then the band is stitched and folded to encase the raw edges. Now, the secret to getting this nice and neat is... there is no secret. You just have to work slowly and carefully and press, press, press every step of the way. Anyone who's watching this, who's new to sewing or just unfamiliar with the process, now gets to see the deep, dark truth. When you make clothes, you don't end up sewing so much as you iron. Now it's starting to look like a chemise. The final step is to sew the hems, and more pressing. And then, as soon as I get rid of any chalk marks and cat hair that I missed, we are good to go. Overall, I'm mostly pleased, but not 100%. I'm happy with the construction, but the proportions ended up off. It's wider and shorter than it should be, and this is completely on account of my own mistakes. I wanted the neckline wide enough to be worn off the shoulder without being restrictive, and ended up with more width than I probably needed. And it's shorter than I want, well, because I just screwed up cutting. Oops. That's fine though. It'll work. Thanks for watching.